Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. The UK's first womb transplant has hailed a huge success in Oxford. There are hopes it could revolutionise fertility treatment.
We're very happy to say that with the donor, they had a really good post-operative recovery, and then the recipient is doing extremely well.
The £18 million park and ride scheme at Ensham in West Oxfordshire to relieve congestion on the A40. But not everyone's convinced it's the answer.
Also on the programme, another challenging time for farmers. After one of the wettest Julys on record, what now for food prices?
And find out what's made children's TV presenter Timmy Mallett put down his foam hammer, pick up a paintbrush and bike across the region. Good evening. Doctors in Oxford have carried out the UK's first ever womb transplant. A 34-year-old woman was the recipient. Her sister was the living donor.
The operations at the city's Churchill Hospital lasted 17 hours in total and are being hailed as a possible game changer for fertility treatment. Richard Slee has been speaking to some of the medics involved.
This was a very long and complex procedure carried out by more than 30 medical specialists, all giving their time for free on a Sunday when the theatre was not normally in use. The recipient woman has a rare condition where the uterus is absent or underdeveloped but has functioning ovaries. The procedure has been done about 100 times before, but this is the first time in this country.
And yes, there were moments that were a bit hairy and moments in which we needed to draw from the whole team, the expertise of everyone to see how we're going to do this, how when you encounter certain problems, just to find a way around them.
And the procedure went as well as was hoped.
We're very happy to say that with the donor, they had a really good post-operative recovery, and then the recipient is doing extremely well. And all of her biopsies to look for immunosuppression have come back as normal. There's no problems on that front. And she's having menstrual periods as well, which is a really important part of this process.
The operation was funded by the charity Womb Transplant UK, which currently has approval for 10 more. For women like LMA, who was born without a womb, it provides a welcome alternative option.
I'd love to have a baby. I am a hopeful mum, but for me it's a hard choice because there's obviously lots of different options and surrogacy and adoption. So it's a hard one to just say yes to when you've researched something so much. But I am totally in awe of the people that are going ahead with this.
6 months on from the surgery in Oxford, the womb is functioning as it should, and the woman is planning a round of IVF with one of her own embryos, which were previously frozen.
Hopefully that embryo will take, and 9 months later she'll be delivered by caesarean section. And once she's had her caesarean section, she does have a choice 6 months later to have a completion hysterectomy or to go and have another baby. And we know right now that she wants to have another baby, that's for sure.
The medical team says at the moment any further transplants would probably involve a living donation from a relative. But it may come to a point where friends or altruistic donors are involved, as happens in many other transplants. Richard Slee, ITV News.
In other news, air accident investigators have returned to the scene of a fatal crash in West Oxfordshire. The pilot was killed when the light aircraft came down in a field near the A44 at Enstone shortly before 3 p.m. yesterday. The man's family has been told. Members of the public are being asked to avoid the area while investigations are carried out. Police are appealing for witnesses to come forward.
There will be no late-night service on Great Western Railway on Saturday for people going to the Reading Festival. Around 105,000 people are due to attend the three-day event, and visitors are being warned to plan for longer travel times. It's because there'll also be a very limited service on Chiltern and no South Western Railway trains to the town due to strike action by the RMT.
Well, meanwhile, staff at the Royal Berkshire NHS Foundation Trust say their emergency department is likely to be very busy over the next few days. They're asking people to be patient and understanding ahead of the consultant strike, bank holiday weekend and the Reading Festival. Those who don't need emergency care are being advised to contact 111.
Work is well underway on the new park and ride scheme at Ensham in West Oxfordshire. It's hoped the £18 million project will relieve congestion on the A40 and improve transport links between Witney and Oxford.
The 850 space site is due to open in 2025. Juliet Fletcher has been behind the scenes to see how it's progressing.
Work began on the new park and ride scheme last October. There are already 5 in Oxford. It's hoped this one will improve journeys for those travelling into the city and beyond from the west.
What we needed was a solution which would improve the A40 but also offer big improvements to public transport in particular for people in this area. And so this is it. This Ensham Park and Ride will provide a great opportunity for people to access jobs, visit family and to travel more widely, and it's going to be great for our bus services in particular, but hopefully for our trains too.
The park and ride is costing in the region of £18 million. It's government funded and is part of a £150 million package of wider improvements along the A40. There'll be 850 spaces here at the park and ride, and the site will be accessible 24 hours a day. There'll be somewhere to store your bicycle or charge an electric car. There'll be public loos and maybe even a cafe. Mark Griffiths runs a taxi company in Carterton. He's not sure a park and ride is the answer, but says traffic on the A40 has got much worse in recent years.
So I would say that if you're trying to plan to go anywhere, particularly if you're trying to get into Oxford or further from Oxford after, say, round about 9 o'clock in the morning, you're probably looking at having to leave Carterton, which is where we are, at probably somewhere between 6 and 6:30, because the traffic is just absolutely appalling. It's just basically from the end of the Witney bypass all the way through to Oxford, it's just chock-a-block, you can't move.
But the council hopes that projects like this one will help to change the face of public transport in the future.
Our hope is to build a network of what we call mobility hubs across the county, and these will provide all sorts of different options for people. They'll be close to where people live. People can walk and cycle there. We hope to have cycle hire schemes, but also car clubs, and as well as having excellent bus services, shuttles to the railway stations, to Oxford and beyond. Hopefully from here in Ensham you'll be able to get on a coach and get off at Heathrow and fly to your holiday destination.
The aim is to finish construction work by 2024 and have it up and running in 2025. Juliet Fletcher, ITV News, Ensham.
Some more headlines now. A record number of undergraduate places have been accepted at Reading University. More than 5,000 new students will begin their studies in September. Politics, law and biological and computer sciences are among the most popular subject areas, with students going through clearing.
More than 1,000 people have been to Newbury's Northcroft Lido since it reopened to the public just 2 days ago. It's according to West Berkshire County Council, which says its family swim sessions have been particularly popular. It's the first week the Lido has been used since it underwent a £5 million transformation.
A company in Oxford has designed its own unofficial shirt for the England Lioness goalkeeper Mary Earps. It comes after Nike made the decision not to sell Mary's kit ahead of the Women's World Cup. In a post on social media, the company Alcopop called Mary a hero. All profits will be donated to the charity Football Without Borders.
Yes, there's been something of a backlash. It's not going to go away either. Now you're watching ITV News Meridian in the Thames Valley. Still to come on tonight's programme.
From children's TV presenter to artist and keen cyclist, we'll catch up with Berkshire's own Timmy Mallett and find out why he's been biking around our region.
And while the first half of the week has brought plenty of scenes like this, there's something a little more changeable on the way. Join me later for all the details where you are.
Plenty more from us, of course, online. Details on the screen, itv.com/Meridian. You can call us 0808 1010 095. And as ever, you can find us on social media.
A charity in Winchester is calling on the government to take steps to end period poverty once and for all, after the number of women struggling to afford period products increased by 10% in a year.
Well, last year, Scotland became the first country in the world to make period products free. Our reporter, Catherine Walker, went to Edinburgh to find out how it works and to see if a similar scheme could help people here.
Period products like tampons and sanitary pads are a basic essential. And this hygiene bank in the southeast says they should be made more affordable for anyone who needs them.
Periods do not stop for pandemics, they do not stop for economics, they just keep rolling in. And so period poverty is an issue, and there is a need to make sure that period products are accessible and affordable.
The latest research shows that 21% of people in the UK are struggling to afford period products. That's up from 12% in just 1 year. This adds up to an estimated 2.8 million people living in period poverty. It's an issue the Scottish Government have taken proactive measures to address. In August last year, they became the first country in the world to introduce a law making period products free to anyone who needs them.
So it works as in the government gives each council in Scotland a budget, and with that budget they then go off and work out how to provide the products for their communities. A lot of the times it's in libraries and in leisure centres where you can go and pick up these products. We don't want anyone to have to go and ask for a product because that is the period dignity side of it. Inverness College, amazing.
The law is still in its infancy, but early feedback from this distribution centre outside Edinburgh suggests it has been a success.
By giving somebody just a pack of pads or tampons, they're able to just live their life uninterrupted by their cycle, and that's how it should be. Instead of having to hide at home, using alternatives that are not safe or not healthy for them, it's very humbling, I would say, to be part of this.
Back in England, pressure is now being placed on the government to take similar steps.
No one's basic biological needs every month should be subject to these pressures that the cost of living crisis is exerting on us all. We don't expect to take toilet paper or hand soap with us when we go out and about, on journeys in public places. So why should period and period products be any different?
In response, the government told ITV News they have already made period products more affordable, scrapping VAT and providing free products in hospitals and schools. But for many, that time of the month still signals an expense they can ill afford. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Some more headlines now, and the former Police and Crime Commissioner for Dorset, Martin Underhill, has paid tribute to his son who's been killed in a car accident. Benjamin Underhill fell from a moving vehicle in Mallington near Wimborne 2 weeks ago. A man was arrested but released without charge. The former Commissioner said he was a loving son and father and will be sorely missed.
Around 9,000 solar panels are being added to roofs and car parks in Portsmouth. The Lakeside North Harbour project will see panels added to 5 buildings and more than 7,000 panels to canopies above car parking spaces. The council says they'll provide enough power for 1,300 homes a year.
Firefighters have rescued a horse stuck in mud in Dorset. A specialist rescue team helped pull Apollo free at Litchett Minster once he'd been given sedation by a vet. He was soon back on his feet again. Good news.
Now, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international stories at 6:30. With the details for us tonight, Kamal Fanbullah.
Coming up on the Evening News, medical history is made as the UK sees its first ever womb transplants. The government announces 7 new special needs schools, but will it be enough to address the national shortage? Is baby formula getting too expensive? We see if mothers should be getting a better deal. And touchdown. India becomes the first country to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon's south pole. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, farmers are nearing the end of their harvests in the region. For many, the crops have suffered, though, because of heavy rainfall earlier in the summer.
And there are now concerns that this could impact food prices. Here's James Webster.
It's been a challenging few months for our farmers, and this year's harvest is suffering because of it. Across the UK, July was the 6th wettest on record, and the effect of that could filter through to our household budgets within just a few weeks. Here in our region, the NFU says the issues affecting the harvest are even affecting those farms with a focus on animals.
If you have a look at the Sussex area, that's renowned as having quite a high population of livestock compared to sort of neighbouring counties. But the real big challenge actually has been trying to cut hay. So even if the farmers can get on the field and cut the hay, the problem has actually been trying to let the hay dry enough so they can bale it, so they can ensure there's enough winter feed there. Whilst the weather's been good in regards to growth, it has been quite frustrating to just try and make sure they're going to have enough adequate winter feed.
The final push is now on for many farmers to get the last of the crops harvested. This weather is a lot drier and warmer than it was several weeks ago when there was significant rainfall. The crops that are now still being harvested could still be too wet for sale and will need to be dried out back at the barn before they're ready to go to whoever's bought them. Once it's out of the field, that grain is brought in here to carry out that process.
So for us to market this grain, it's got to be at 15%. Also,
and that's 15% of what?
Moisture content. So we've been combining it at 23%. That was the highest we combined it at, and then it costs us about £1 per tonne to take 1% out. So to get it from 23 to 15, it's costing us like £8 per tonne, and there's 1,600 tonne in this shed. We've dried about half of this, so it's in all we've nearly spent £6,500 on drying.
This grain is only good enough for animal feed this year. Combine that with reduced yields at some other farms, and retail experts say it could slow down the falls that we've seen in food inflation later in the autumn.
Last year we had the energy price shock, and one of the biggest inputs in actually making food is gas. So now that gas prices have come off quite a bit, definitely nowhere near as high as they were last year, the kind of inflationary pressures are not going to be as great as we had. So the way we kind of see this playing out is not so much a return to inflation surging back up, but it is likely that it will slow down how fast inflation falls.
Although food inflation is affected by many factors, the quality and quantity of this year's harvest is an added pressure, which will have an effect later in the year. James Webster, ITV News.
Football now, and 3 of our sides were in EFL Trophy action last night.
And as Sarah Gom reports, 2 of those needed their matches settled with the dreaded penalty shootout.
Pompey fought hard to secure their opening 2 points in this competition against a Fulham under-21 side that took a heavily altered Blues team all the way to spot kicks. Chris O'Donnell put Fulham ahead within the game's opening minute. Sean Raggett and Terry Devlin drew Pompey ahead before Marshall Godo levelled and the Premier team's young side went down to 10 men. There was little Fulham could do about Raggett's second, and despite having plenty of chances to wrap this one up, John Messino's men couldn't avoid the penalty shootout. Both sides missed one of their opening 5 efforts before Ryan Schofield made this much celebrated save. Another penalty shootout at Swindon, as thrilling a contest, but on this occasion the Premier League under-21 opponents came out on top. Arsenal were rattled when Jacob Wakeling forced this own goal to put Swindon in front. And after Lino Sousa levelled, the Robins pulled ahead once again. 8 minutes from time though, the Gunners took this match to spot kicks, with only Carl Hines' save separating the 2. Brighton's under-21s boosted their chances of getting out of this group with victory at Walsall. Andrew Moran's double earning the Seagulls a first victory in this competition since 2021.
Sarah Gom there with our roundup. Now, if you're of a certain age, and we are, our next guest is someone you will definitely remember from your television screens during the school holidays.
Whack-a-day! Na 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 na. Now then, wide awakers, it's top secret agent day today. Ha! My name is Bond. Timmy Bond. secret agent 00007 and a half.
Fun times, fun memories. Timmy Mallett's there, of course. Well, what you may not know about Timmy is his passion for cycling and art. Two things he's combined working with Ordnance Survey.
Yes, he has cycled 4,500 miles around Britain painting as he travelled.
This is Chesil Beach. You're never going to say to yourself, I wonder if we can find a little bit just for ourselves. It goes on forever. It's amazing. 100 million tonnes of shingle and metres high, constantly moving.
Well, Timmy's certainly enjoying himself there. We can join him now back home safe and well in Maidenhead in Berkshire. Timmy, a journey that took almost 5 months. Incredible stamina, but you look like you were loving every minute of it.
Oh, look, an utter joy. This was inspired, actually, by something that happened 200 years ago when Napoleon was rampaging across Europe and you couldn't go travelling to the continent. So artists like Joseph Turner spent time travelling around the coast of Britain, sketching as he went. And I wondered whether I could follow in his footsteps, but instead of walking, I'd go on my trusty Timmy bike, and this has been my mode of transport, carrying with me everything I would need, including my paints, to follow in the footsteps. And it is amazing how much you can see that is still exactly the same. For instance, you know, at Corfe Castle, a painting done by Joseph Turner, you can see the exact spot he stood on. Or at Osmington Bay, where John Constable went for his honeymoon and stayed 6 weeks with the vicar, well, like you do, to paint those great views of Weymouth. And it's been a real wonderful joy to explore the coast of Britain, because it is a world-class coastline. And for much of it, you know, you can actually pedal right by the sea. I mean, this, for instance, you know, right along the edge of the water, almost in the water. But I've been really thrilled with what I've discovered about how lovely Britain is, and in particular our world-class coastline along the south coast.
And Tim, we obviously love the south coast. So tell us about the route. What did you take in?
Right, well, I started at Paddington Station, somewhere everybody would know, went down the Thames and then chuck a right, basically, keep the water on your left and go all the way around the coast, keeping the water on your left until you end up back where you started again. Just under 5 months. But it's the variety that you see each and every day, and the people coming up and saying, oh, you mustn't miss this. And we have such a pride in our own locality, and to be able to have that shared is really joyous. And I'm thrilled with what we've got now on this Ordnance Survey map, which shows the exact route, all those little detours. I wonder what's down that lane. And then all the paintings that I produced along the way, and the little video stories that are filmed on my phone as I'm going along, and the people you meet. And they're all there. And I know what you'll do. You'll go straight to your own favourite beach and you'll say, I wonder if Timmy's painted a picture here, or if there's a story. And if there isn't, I know what you'll do, Sangeeta. You'll tell me about it and I'll fix it on the next trip.
Well, Timmy, I'm sure this is going to inspire loads of people to get out on their bikes and enjoy the coastline as well. It's been great to see some of your paintings and to hear all about it. Thanks for talking to us on the programme.
Oh, look, an utter pleasure, Matt. And, you know, on my next ride, I'm taking you with me. So get your bike tyres pumped up and the three of us will go off and explore some of the great South Coast.
Only if I'm on a tandem.
Always fully inflated. Timmy, thank you.
Thank you. And you're pedalling.
I'm not going. That's just
okay, no. But is
right.
it great to talk to Timmy Mallett?
Yeah, amazing.
And do you want a Timmy Mallett now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
they were great.
Not that one.
They were not the hammer.
Painting.
The
Not
painting.
The hammer,
Very good. Very good.
Pip's with us now. You've got fun memories too.
Oh, I have. Yeah, Timmy Mallett, Pinky Punky, story of my childhood mornings, that was.
But Pip, let's talk weather now because, well, we're starting further afield, aren't we?
We are heading further afield, hopping across the channel to mainland Europe, where there is another heat wave, sweltering heat. In fact, records being toppled left, right and centre, but the French Riviera and the Rhone Valley are bearing the brunt of it. Look at these values here. You'd be forgiven for thinking those were daytime highs. Those were actually the lowest temperatures last night. 30.4 Celsius is just 0.1 of a degree off of the record for France, so absolutely scorching. Thankfully, over the next few days, things are set to become a little more manageable. You can see the pink-red colours there gradually getting pushed away southeastwards as the jet stream buckles, and I think daytime temperatures back into the mid to high 20s, overnight temperatures back into the high teens.
Not as scorching here, but a pretty decent week so far.
Yeah, it's actually been lovely. Some gorgeous pictures coming into the weather inbox. Take a look at this from Carol Elliott. This was when the Portsmouth Ramblers were on one of their hikes. Blue skies and bright blooms there. And blue skies over Bewley for Derek as well. But a reminder of the recent rain with the big puddles. And of course, with high pressure close by, we've had some beautiful sunsets and sunrises. This one from Alison Treacher. But will it last? Unsettled weather on the way overnight, and tomorrow a thunderstorm warning too. Let's get a look at the full forecast.
Whatever the weather, it always feels like home. Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
So despite a dry, fine and fairly warm start to the week, it's all change over the next few days. We'll see more showers coming our way, and whilst winds will be fairly light, it will feel a little bit cooler than it has done of late. So the high pressure we've had to start the week is now edging away. In its place, low pressure takes over, and that will carry us really right through the bank holiday weekend with a mixture of sunshine and showers. And on bank holiday Monday itself, potentially some thicker cloud and rain courtesy of this frontal system. But all of that is still a fair way off, and for the time being, it remains pretty quiet. So dry through this evening, clear spells coming and going. And then after midnight, a bit more cloud starts to move in from the south. That will be accompanied by a few showers as well. For all of us, another mild night, temperatures for some probably hovering at around 16 or 17 Celsius. So tomorrow morning, the showers pepping up, perhaps merging to a longer spell of rain at times, and the potential for some rumbles of thunder and some heavy bursts in there as well. But through the day, much of that will start to shuffle away eastwards. We'll see some brighter skies developing out towards the west. But of course, with the slower start than we've had recently, temperatures will struggle a little tomorrow, probably peaking in the low 20s at best. High tides for tomorrow then, just the one there for Portland, 11:55 in the morning. And then confirmation as we head through the bank holiday weekend, sunny spells and showers, perhaps a little more rain on Monday, and a cooler feel for all. Bye-bye.
Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
And in just a moment here, it's the ITV Evening News with Gamal Fambula.
Sangeeta's back with a late update just after 10:30.
Thanks for reminding me.
Sorry, I'm just checking it's not me. It's not me, it's you. Have a great evening. Bye for now.
Bye.